All right. So here we are. I got to tell you, the first 2 weeks has been very stressful. The amount of time I have to spend uh, teaching in this way is. Uh, I'm glad that I can get back to you with a little bit of personal information. I want to talk about Michigan. I want to talk about the Indians. I want to talk about the age of the French. And if the first thing I want to, Michigan is unique among the other states in the United States. Boston was not settled by the French. Michigan was settled by the French. They were here first. Detroit was a French city. Mackinac was a French fort. This area was all settled by the French. So you have kind of layers. So look at Michigan. You have the Native Americans, and on top of that, you have the French. Then come the English. And the diversity in Michigan is no accident. It's like layers and layers and layers and layers of generations of different kinds of people moving into Michigan for different kinds of reasons. And I want you to know that the government in Michigan, for most of our history, uh, has been actively encouraging immigration, so that we would send agents to Germany to round up people. Say, hey, you got to come to Michigan. I mean, Michigan is this place. So, but I want to talk about Native Americans. I think I may have shown you, that in my culture, horns are, important. And this is the ram's horn that we blow now. Next week is New Year's, Jewish New Year's, and it's going to make it very difficult to keep up with the class. I just want to show you. This is, I said that these were the. That doesn't look like it's coming through very well like that. Let me go um, to no background. Right, that's better. Okay, so this is what it looks like. That there's a funny distortion that comes when you have that background. This is a Yemenite ram. This is, tremendous animal. And this is for long distance calls. As I said, these were used to send messages along distances. You get on a hilltop and you blow, and people on the other hilltop can get the message. This Native Americans. I moved here to Michigan. I should tell you this first. I moved here to Michigan. I was born in New York, and then I went to graduate school in St. Louis. I was always in big cities, and I moved here to Michigan. And the first thing that happened here was that my next door neighbor, and we were living in married student housing, little apartments, and we were on the third floor, and across the hall there was one other apartment, two apartments, and that Gordon Henry, a young English professor, I had just come. He had just come. We met each other. We didn't know much about each other, but we became friends. And it turned out that Gordon was born in Mount Pleasant on the reservation, and he's Ojibwa, and he invited me to go with him to the Sundance ceremony that Francis Cree would run from a Ojibwa reservation on the Canadian-U.S. border, north of Minot, North Dakota. And so we went there. We drove the whole way, and it was an amazing experience for me because I'd been used to, you go to synagogue, and I've been to churches, but I had never been to anything like this. This was a 7-day ceremony during the summer solstice, and they had a big pole in the middle, and then an arbor around, and you had these dancers. If you wanted to fast, they fasted for this whole period. I think it was 5 days that they fasted. So I joined. I thought, well, yeah, I'll go. I'll try it. I regularly fast. Yom Kippur is coming up, and we fast for 25 hours. But I'd never done anything like this. And on the third day, Gordon, who I had noticed before the ceremony began, had been whittling at these sticks about this long and sharpened at both ends. And he went out, uh, uh, and um, and Francis came and pushed them through his pecs, uh, and then tied a rope around them, each one. So they were tied to the center pole. And he just, so the drums are going, and he's dancing back and dancing back until it's taut. And then he throws his hands up and pulls his legs out from under him and goes swinging forward. And, just like, I've never seen anything like it. That's not a religious ceremony that I ever seen. That's super religious. One of the things that the text talks about is this issue of gift giving, of reciprocity. And it talks about, the three kinds of reciprocity that you need to know for the test. You've probably already taken it. But reciprocity means that, that when you're forming a relationship, you give something from yourself to the other person, and then that person gives back something of equal value. So here's a horn that was given to me at that Sundance, and it is this is a petrified bison horn. The animal that lived, that carried this horn, lived hundreds of thousands of years ago. This is a fossil, and for the native peoples, it's extremely sacred because this buffalo ran free when the land was free. It's a very, and it carries the spirit of the ancestors. That really, I treasure it. And I use it a lot to show to students. And Gordon gave me this, and this is a beaver pelt, and it's used to keep your tobacco. You keep your tobacco in there. Oh, I gotta be careful with that. It's just coming apart a little bit. Yeah. So and this too. So tobacco is sacred. So this is a religious object. It's meant to be treasured, and I do. I really do. So that's those things. And then what I want to talk to you about is my friend Scott Heron, who's right here on campus. He teaches in the biology. He's a biologist and a naturalist, and he's also one of the elders in the Circle of Tribal Nations. He's not an old guy, but he is a leader in the Circle of Tribal Nations right here on campus. We have a campus Circle of Tribal Nations, and when we first met, he gave me this. This is just beautiful. This is gorgeous. It's Petoskey stone, and it's not run through a shiny thing, so it just it's made to look like this is just natural, and it's beautiful, and it's sacred, and it has a feel, just, and this is a part of the connection, the relationship that I have with Scott. So Scott Heron, his last name is a French name. His family goes back 10 generations. When you're reading in chapter 2 about Acadia, about the French moving in, those French people, they, unlike the English, and you have to understand there's a difference between the English and the French. The English were terrible. The English, I mean, I leave out Sir William Johnston. He was a different kind of guy. He was married to a Mohawk high status clan mother. He was considered a sachem of the tribe. But in general, the English had contempt for the native peoples, whereas the French had come here they didn't come with families. Young men came here. And in order to succeed, what you had to do is you go to a tribe and you want to trade with them. And so in order to trade with a tribe, you had to be a part of the tribe. You had to be adopted into the family. And the best way to be adopted into the family was to marry one of the native women in the village, and that happened all the time. So, so the French were half Indians, and the Indians really understood their relationship with the French. It was a mutual relationship. It was a reciprocal relationship. We give you something of value, and you give us something of value, and we treasure that relationship. That was not the relationship that the English had. Scott is very proud of the fact that he's Native American, but also that he's French. His family, 10 generations back to these early French settlers who became French Indian Michigan natives. So I just wanted to introduce you to Native Americans in Michigan and give you a sense of the place that this has in Michigan history. I'll just leave it there because I want to keep these short.